Hey, what's up guys, up here. So when it comes to insults, you don't have to say mean things to people. All you should say is, one day I hope your favorite franchise gets infected and corrupted with DEI and woke nonsense, because that is a very real reality in the year 2024, and Lord of the Rings is no exception to that. Now before we get into the latest slop involved with that IP, let's read this quote from J.R.R. Tolkien himself, saying this: "Evil cannot create anything new. It can only spoil and destroy what good forces have invented or created." And I can't think of a better metaphor for what's happening with DEI stuff and video games and the entertainment industry as a whole. So let's begin here. This game has been getting a lot of attention. Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game. Now, what is this all about? Well, here's their description on their website. "Welcome home, Hobbit. From the creative studio Weta Workshop, live the cozy life of a hobbit in the wonderful, serene landscape of the Shire. Discover, decorate, and share in this idyllic corner of Middle-earth. Join friendly hobbits and familiar faces awaiting your arrival in the Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game." So basically, this is just Stardew Valley with the Lord of the Rings title slapped onto it. That is the biggest appeal of this game, the fact that it's connected to Lord of the Rings. Just make new IPs at this point. But who is the studio working with them? Well, as they mentioned, Weta Workshop here. And if you go to their website and you want a job, this is the first thing they say: "Join us. As our team grows, it's important that we continue to foster an environment where diversity and inclusivity is a priority." Yup. When it comes to the hiring process and working at the studio, the most important thing is your appearance, the color of your skin, not the merit of your work, the merit of your character, or anything else. This is what's most important to them, and it really shows in their showcase and the previews of this game. So, on September 10th, a few days ago, they posted their new Hobbit Day showcase for September 22nd, a preview of this game. And as you can see, the replies are locked. Not a good sign, but before they locked the replies, some people snuck a few comments in. And before we actually watch this quick 15-second clip, let's read some of these replies as a little appetizer here. So this user says, "Dear Lord, this looks terrible. The whole development team should be arrested for the murder of an IP. This looks like an early 2000s shovelware. Who greenlit this, or whoever greenlit this, should resign. This game feels like DI just by looking at it. Who is funding these games? Whoever it is really has to start hiring market research teams. No one is going to buy this trash game. People are prepared to go woke." So obviously it doesn't look good. Now let's take a quick look at this 15-second clip. 15 seconds long, but it speaks 1,000 words.
We love hobbits, and with Tales of the Shire, we want to immerse you in their world.
We just really want Tales of the Shire to feel like a warm hug.
So welcome to DI the Game, featuring the Lord of the Rings IP as an anchor to draw people in. So we'll get into the public reaction to this teaser of the showcase in just a second, but I want to give you guys a little breakdown of the timeline here. So this initial teaser was posted on September 10th, but then 2 days later, after getting clowned on social media, they would make an important update for all hobbits playing this game. Now, I'm sure you didn't bring your magnifying glass to this video, so I will enhance this message right here. So it says this: "All of us here at Weta Workshop are excited to have you join us in the Shire, a peaceful corner of Tolkien's world. When a new hobbit steps into Bywater for the very first time, we want that moment to be everything you're hoping for. To ensure we deliver that vision, Tales of the Shire will now be launching in early 2025. So a lot of people are looking at this and the timing of the preview of the showcase and saying they got clowned on so hard, the game is now getting delayed. But even for people who are legitimately interested in this game and are not clowning on it, they are disappointed because on multiple occasions, they have indicated that they intended for this game to be released in 2024, and that's clearly not going to happen. But after that, a few days later, the next day actually, they would re-release that same teaser of the showcase, and this particular post would get even more attention. People are going crazy on this post. You can see it has nearly 5 million views, over 1,000 quotes, most of them making fun of this teaser here. And you can see, as always, the replies are locked. But there's two mistakes that they made with this post. Number one, you can see this little icon right here. This is the hidden reply icon, meaning they are hiding replies. When I say they're hiding replies, they are hiding hundreds of replies. Anything that is critical of this teaser is getting hidden, okay? And that is a big mistake because hiding replies does have a normal, useful function like hiding illegal or terrible things that nobody should be seeing. But on top of that, if you're using it to hide things that are critical of you or mocking you, it's really bad because it basically puts all those comments into a neatly organized separate tab that is easily accessible with this button right here. And it serves as basically a jumbotron for all of the negative comments, and they're instantly visible. And this is what happens. You end up with your highest liked comment in the replies being something like this, captioned, "This is the targeted audience," which, based on experience, that sounds about right. But here's some more hidden replies just to give you an idea. They're pretty tame, most of them. Saying, "This is terrible, go woke, go broke. Why do caps keep..." Yeah, I'm out. We all know what they're going to infect the game with. Dead on arrival, DEI, go woke, go broke. You get the point, right? Anything that's critical of this is getting hidden by the original poster here, the official account for this game. And now, mistake number two. As Cabrutus here points out, this is the creator of DEI Detected as well as Sweet Baby Ink Detected. He says, "I wonder why they locked the replies." That is an amateur mistake on Twitter, okay? These people clearly have never dealt with any controversy or heat on them because the worst thing you can do, even beyond hiding replies, is locking the replies, because then it leaves people with only one option in terms of their response, and that is to quote it, which gets a lot more interaction and attention. When you reply to a tweet like this, yes, a decent number of your followers will see it, but the most people are going to see it are the ones already on the tweet to begin with. So your influence isn't quite as big. But when you quote, much more people in your following will see your quote and your comment, and then they will go to the tweet, and then they will notice that the replies are turned off, and then they will quote, and it'll just keep snowballing, and then you end up with situations like this, where the quotes get a lot of attention, and you have Count Dankula here with a tweet with 38,000 likes, saying, "Why are the hobbits blah?" That's why, referring to the people who created this game and some sort of a woke agenda they're trying to inject into this IP. Here's another one saying, "Automatic skip. I don't even have to see the game." So that's what happens when you not only release what's clearly a DEI slop project, but also when you don't know how to handle heat on social media and you hide replies and lock replies and you get results like this. But I could show hundreds of replies dunking on them. You kind of get the point. I want to move on to this one right here. It's a good transition to the rest of this video. This person says, "For the love of God, make your own IPs." And that is critical. Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing beloved IPs used solely for clout. And they take the IP and the product they make out of it doesn't represent anything the IP resembles, okay? You basically have an entirely different game with different goals, different philosophies, different lore, what have you, and then they just slap Lord of the Rings on it and they say, "Yes, check this out because you're a Lord of the Rings fan. You should trust that it's good." And it's really, really annoying. Just make your own thing. And we see this all the time nowadays. And speaking of other Lord of the Ring IPs here, you can see the Rings of Power right now is in its second season. And right now, a lot of people are critical of various aspects. But of course, running defense, as always, are the feminists, the activists, the games journalists, and all of the above. You can see this Mary Sue article saying the Rings of Power hate is as boring as it is predictable. Now, before we look into what they're referring to, let's remember this quote from the late Tolkien himself, talking about evil, right? Evil being corrupted, irredeemable, and what he's referring to in the context of Lord of the Rings are orcs, okay? They're supposed to be evil, not someone who has redemption arcs or anything like that. However, in Rings of Power, they have gone a different route, and you can see Nerdrotic here making a sarcastic tweet saying, "Orcs just want to have a safe place to raise their kids, be evil, and practice their corrupted form of life in peace." And that is a real subset of the story right now. And in a interview with Deadline, one of the showrunners directly says this, "And we were also always fascinated by the idea that the orcs are fallen elves. Tolkien had this idea that evil can't create anything, it can only corrupt. that the elves, these amazing, beautiful creatures, could be corrupted into the orcs was fascinating to us, and they go on to basically imply that they want to go a different route. So they look at the brilliant vision of Tolkien and they say, you know what? I have a better twist. We're going to make these orcs likable. We're going to try to humanize these orcs that were never meant to, but we're going to do that. We're going to make them have families and be something you're going to feel bad for and sympathize for. And we're going to make them more of an evolution of what he was trying to do, which is obviously quite disrespectful. But let's move on to another situation going on here where there's some, depending on who you ask, some people think it's cringe to be talking about these shipping things here from the official account saying, okay, we ship them. And the critical drinker would quote them saying, what are you, like 12 years old? And this would result in some very interesting responses where Jesse Earl would say, yes, because no one ever shipped anyone ever in The Lord of the Rings before. Anyways, here's just two boys being straight. So this is always so frustrating because number one, you're talking about Sam, for example, who's literally married with kids. But this always reflects back on people don't understand friendships between two men. And it's really, really weird. Going back to middle school, high school, I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of men grew up kind of having insecurities about being vulnerable, expressing their emotions, especially when it comes to male-on-male friendships, because they're afraid of being mocked, and, your high school bully calling you gay or stuff like that. And now we have the same thing happening just from the other side. Now the progressive people are doing this to you. When men show vulnerability with one another, they show a close friendship, what have you, it is labeled as something that must be sexual. And that's really weird. It shows that these people are unable to have any sort of a grasp of what a true friendship is, because everything to them has this underlying sexual layer to it, which is just ridiculous. It's projection. It's really weird that they're sharing all these things, because these are friendships and they're trying to make it into something that fits their own agenda or their own identity, and it's really weird. It's a weird understanding of friendship between males. But anyways, as you can see, the modern audience has not shown up. They're not going to show up likely for Tales of the Shire, but they're not going to show up currently for Rings of Power, which is seeing a 50% decline in viewership from season 1. Yeah, that sounds about right. The modern audience just doesn't show up. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, I hope you guys feel free to share your thoughts and comments about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.